evening, everyone. Welcome to Planning and Licensing on this glorious day on 27th of May. Apologies, Duncan.
So we do have some apologies this evening. Councillor Spry, North, Adlam and Morris.
Thank you. Interests, if I still say crochet, even lucky I'm not crocheting at the same time, I'm multitasking. Meeting management issues? No. We've got no one in the gallery. They're all on the beach. Watching us from the beach. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Right, minutes. We've got draft minutes from the 29th of April. I'm happy to propose the minutes, second them. All those in favour of the minutes? Brilliant, thank you. Matters arising? Anyone matters arising from those minutes? No? Brilliant. Questions? Item 6, questions from the public. No written ones? No written ones. No written
questions.
Active consultations. So we've got the... the imagery of this is wonderful, isn't it? The proposed Puffin pedestrian crossing. And I do have an image now of a little row of puffins all queuing down Henver Road to cross it. Well, I'm sure we'll find out in a minute what a puffin crossing is. Oh, you just need puffins for that, don't you? Duncan.
Right, okay then. So Cornwall Council are intending to improve pedestrian access to the existing bus stops on Henver Road by providing a safe crossing point near the junction with Church Street. This will also enhance connectivity, we are told, to Nansledden and the school. I'll just bring up the... I'll just bring this up just so that you can see. If you see the junction with Church Street there, it's just to the right of that junction as you're looking at it at the moment.
So there's the path that's used, isn't it, from cutting through Nansledden by lots of people, and very much the children in the morning. Is it at the side here? Is that the path? Or that one?
And the vulnerable housing.
In here,
so
yeah.
It's right opposite the junction. So where is the junction?
Oh, it is this one here. Yeah. Yeah. So that's one of the main reasons, and of course with more and more housing going into Nansledden, there's going to be just more and more children using that to get to Blue School and Trefiglas. Yeah.
I thought that we would have a look again at a little closer look at the notice. Okay, so yeah, just to sort of point out the detail, they're making an informal crossing point across Church Street, and we are looking at tactile paving there. Yeah. And then the Puffin crossing to facilitate pedestrian crossing is shown here. It's again, there is some tactile paving. They're also putting a couple of bollards in as well. I presume that that's a safety feature. The other thing that I was just going to bring up was, I just thought it's useful with these things to know what's actually being asked of us. So we're being asked for our view on the screen, or view on the scheme, obviously, but we are being asked if we wholly support, but would like to consider additional measures, object to parts, but are neutral to other elements, or wholly object. So it would be, our response would be ticking one of these boxes, and then if we wish to add some text to that as well.
Yeah, go for it, Joanna.
Right. For Councillor Glanville, it's his first experience of taking part in a consultation and being totally ignored by Cornwall Council officers. We had a presentation on this to the Cornwall councillors, and he was extremely anti it. I think it's interesting because the path that is coming up from is it called Pen Fenton or Pen something? It's an odd name, the road, that is, and it's much more formal than it was. It used to be just people used to pop through the garden of the vulnerable house, but what they've now done is they've fenced it off, so it is now, and it's got a very, very grand entrance on the Nansleddon side. We picked up some comments that people are saying, but there's no pavement and you're encouraging young people to walk up a road. It's only 50 yards, but you're encouraging them to walk up there. I doubt if you could stop them because effectively it's the way to the school. But what Councillor Glanville was saying, and I tend to agree with them, this is on the wrong side of the junction. I mean, where it is they're having the junction on the right-hand side. Now, if you've ever come out of that junction, it's turning right across the traffic is awful. Turning left is no problem. So if you had a crossing on the other, and then because the schools are on the left-hand side, what's happening is they're pushing everybody to the right. And then they're saying, oh, we'll have an informal crossing to get you back to where the side you want to be on. So does it not make more sense to have the crossing?
So you want the crossing here?
That side.
Yeah. So the bus stops here, isn't it?
Yes, there's a bus stop there.
So if you're getting the bus to Truro, so you have children sitting there to get the bus to Snostal
Yes.
or Truro out that way, not necessarily going all the way, of course. And we're saying the footpath.
It's absolutely opposite the junction.
So this side of is it beside Quickfit here?
There's Quick Fit is on one side of it, and
Yeah.
the big house is the other.
So it would make sense, and then they wouldn't necessarily have to have that crossing there.
Is the street view useful at this point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other problem.
Yes, you know,
The
street.
other problem, of course, is it's very, very near the crossing that is at post office. So effectively, you've got these
So I
two
think-
crossings
yeah.
very close together
I think that's why they put it
on the wrong side.
on the other side, so it's a little bit further away. Well, it's not that close to the post office. People are really, really reluctant to use crossings unless it's right in front of them, you know,
Exactly.
their desire lines. So I think, isn't the alleyway down here?
Is that the other side? No, the house is bigger than that. Where's the garage? The garage is that big blue sign.
This is the protected house here.
Is
Oh,
that-
that's the fence, so it's just
Yeah.
down between the wall and this fence.
And it's quite formal now. It's definitely fenced off.
It's
Yeah.
going down, down that wall. Yeah.
And it is
So-
the only exit out of Nansleddon into Henver Road. There's no other. There's no
Yeah,
other
no,
exit
the
going
next one's around the corner on Quintrell Road, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's
Opposite,
miles away, isn't it?
yeah.
And of course, this is a desire line because of the schools.
Yeah.
But the idea of putting it on the left-hand side of the east side of the junction. I mean,
And
is that
if-
going to help turning right? I mean, maybe I'm
And-
thinking of how difficult it is to turn right out of that because I've
Yeah,
seen it.
I mean, Councillor Grenville's arguments about turning and stuff, I'd ignore because the busy time of year is the summer holidays when the kids aren't at the school anyway, and you
Well,
know
then you
the
don't need
crossing's
crossing in the first
crossing's not going to be that busy. And also down here, so if you've got the children come down, if they pop into Warren's the Bakers, which is, I think, or is it this way? It is this way, actually, it's there. So it would make more sense if they go to, yes, Warren's is there, isn't it? It's the old Speedy Hire is here. And you see, then the crossing is opposite there. So it's better for Warren's as well, coming from St Colin Minor, to cross the road for their business. I'd ignore the traffic one because it's...
You still have
It's
to
not-
turn right. It's very easy to turn left out of that.
But
If you come up Church Street, it's really easy to turn left, except you'd come nose to nose with the crossing. The difficulty is turning right, so it would be nicer to have
What,
a
from
crossing
Henver Road to Church Road?
for Church Road into Henver Road, coming back towards Newquay.
Yeah,
and
but
you would
that's
turn
that's
right
always
because
a
of traffic.
problem anyway, isn't it?
Yeah,
And
I think
actually,
it's gonna make it
if
more
there's
difficult.
but if there's people at the crossing and it's gonna, it means that they'd actually be able to pull out, wouldn't it?
Well,
Because the
maybe.
traffic would be stationary. Joe?
Well, I think
Well, there are a few options, aren't there? If it stayed where it was, I think we would probably seek, my idea for your consideration is that we should put either hatched yellow lines or a keep clear sign so that people could turn right.
Yes, having hash
Okay.
over it.
So, so you know, the traffic gets held up because the light is red, and if there's a keep clear sign, then the traffic can flow out of Church Road. Okay, so that's one proposal.
Yeah.
I get the idea that they don't want to bunch it up with a crossing that's really nearby, because it's only by the post office, isn't it?
Yeah.
So there's probably some logic there, and I think a happy compromise would put a keep clear sign, or hatch yellow, even better.
The thing is with it,
I'm concerned about the fact that crossing the road and then you've immediately got to cross Church Street, and that doesn't seem like good design to me.
yeah, I mean, other issues for me, of course, there aren't lights there. A Puffin crossing is it's just going to have 2 bollards.
So what
Here
is
and
a
here.
puffin? What is a puffin crossing?
Well, it's not lights. It is just having these bollards, and it's drop curbs. So these are drop curbs. With the zigzag here, then you're not meant to be stopping there anyway. I think that's meant to be kept free, isn't it? If it's zigzag, we're testing each other on the highway code here. It does make more sense to be this side by the bus stop, down here for me, I think, for the desire line. Because if the trouble is, if the children are crossing the road to get to Blue School and Trevoglis, they'll go down Church Street. They won't cross the road here because they'll go in the back way, unless they go into the garage. Oh, it has got. Yeah, yeah. Oh, right. It has got lights.
Pedestrian user-friendly intelligence, it stands for, apparently. So it's intelligent, I love this, it's an intelligent sensor-controlled pedestrian crossing common in the UK. I think what it is it's not regular timings. It's if someone is there,
Okay.
they put the lights on.
So it's a push button.
No, I'm not sure if it is. Oh, it could be a push button.
Okay.
Overhead sensors to detect if you're waiting.
Oh, you don't need to press button.
No, you do. If you press the button and walk off, it doesn't go red.
But you can smart cancel it. If you press the button but walk away before the lights change, the sensors will cancel your crossing request to keep traffic flow. It seems very intelligent.
Another concern I have is that the tactile paving is going right across the pavement, and this is a cycle lane as well on this side. All the way the wide pavement, all the way down Henbury Road is pedestrian and cycle.
That's quite busy.
So if you've got little children on a little bike, they might not. The bobble surface. I know having the bobble surface here, but it's going right across that. Yeah.
Okay, so on that issue,
Yeah.
I think you have to balance the disability rights versus the access of cyclists, and I think
Yeah.
probably I would go for what's proposed there because I think as a cyclist you might be slightly inconvenienced, but as somebody who's visually impaired, I think the consequences are greater. So I would say keep that. Just to steer the conversation on a bit further, I take your point about the fact that once you've crossed, if you want to go to school, you've got to cross again. And I think one additional compromise could be a bollard in the middle of the road there on Church Road if there's room. So again, I think it's for consideration. So if they could have a look at it, then we might be able to come to a view.
Around the corner, it's too narrow for.
Heinz's criticism was that they'll come up that lane and then they'll zoom across the road. They won't bother to turn right to the crossing. They'll turn left and go straight onto the side of the road that they want to be, because that is the side of the road that you either go down, is it Stanhope Crescent, is it? That takes you to Porthbean Road, or you go down to the Wreck, and then you can take the path through the Wreck and it takes you to the schools as well. And I think that was his point, is that the people, nobody wants to actually be on the right-hand side of the road unless they're going to the Bakers.
But they'll cross the road further on. So they'll walk on here and they'll get to the old, the hall in the little car park.
Yeah.
And if they're at Trebigless, they'll actually cut through Blue School
Yeah.
with the gates, or they'll continue down and then go along the path at the back, or they go through here and they'll down
So
Hendon Road and then
If you
up
do,
past the
if
garage.
you do zoom off without crossing, then there is another crossing before you get to
Yeah.
the school.
Yeah.
There's the raised bit that's down, but I think Heis has got a point that what's more likely to happen. The path is immediately opposite the junction, so they have a choice of going right or left. And what this proposal is to make them go right, even though what they want to do is to go left.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, is a...
They won't use it. It would be better to have this there. I mean, by all means, put a drop curb for pedestrian or disabled access to make it because it isn't a drop curb at the moment. But to have it on this side. So I think for what we're saying is then that we support the principle of, because they've got the money for the crossing, that we support the principle of the
Because you went to this, didn't you?
Yeah, I was there too.
Oh, you were there too. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. I can ask a question for you both. Shared use tactile paving. Did they explain what that is? That's the kind of the yellow bits. So you've got the red, which was the tactile paving.
Joe, can you Google what shared use tactile paving?
Usually tactile paving that goes perpendicular to each other, so that if you are a cyclist, you tend to go for that one, and if you are walking, then going the other side, it separates the two people. It's a separate usage, but it might be, I mean, I'll agree with that. Half the pavement goes one way, and half the pavement goes the other way.
I'm very
I'm
impressed
only
you know
asking
this
out
stuff
my own
without even...
curiosity, to be honest.
What tactile paving is, yes, that's just what, but it's, what did you call it?
It says shared use tactile
Shared use. So
paving.
this is for cyclists and for...
So I think it's tactile paving on shared use paths. The shared use is the multiple pedestrian and
Cycling.
Yeah.
If you
What does AI say? What's it thought about? you,
Paving or shared use paths, pedestrian and cyclists, designed to guide visually impaired people safely and prevent collisions with cyclists. Services provided with two distinct textures and often accompanied by a central delineated strip.
so on... Can you just move the image down a bit, please, Duncan? That's it. So this is where the bus, it's marked on where the bus stop is. So I suspect the issue is that if you put the crossing here, it's going to be really unsafe for people when the bus has stopped, which it does do, and it can be there for a while, if people then cross the road with the crossing.
Someone running for the bus is not going to turn right, go across a crossing and then come back. They're going to go straight over.
Yeah, and that's their thing, isn't it? If they're...
In the application as to why they, what's the justification to this side as opposed to the other side? Was that explained in the meeting?
Nope.
No, it wasn't. No, they come.
I think we can ask them to consider it because I mean it's hugely expensive. It's something like £120,000
Yeah,
they've got.
but they had.
And he's
they
not
had-
interested. What the man who's doing it said, I am not interested in traffic. I'm only interested in pedestrian safety.
Yeah, yeah,
Which I thought was
yeah.
an interesting one.
Well, it is a pedestrian crossing, isn't it?
Yeah.
For pedestrians, it's not a traffic crossing.
Is it going to cause congestion for him?
So if they could consider it on the other side, maybe if they moved the bus stop further down. Because the bus stop, where's the bus stop on the Quick Fit side?
It's a little bit further up.
That one?
There.
Okay, so that's quite
Towards
that's
nuclear away from
so that's quite a way down, isn't it? So when they were saying it's making it easier for the bus stops, I don't see that at all.
So the bus stop that's going into Newquay is towards us, is it?
Yeah. Which is what I thought. Yeah, down there.
That's it.
That's the other one, yeah.
So
By the
it's
flats.
it's not making it easy for the bus stops.
Can we just say we're not against having a
No,
crossing?
no, not
I
against
think
having a
that
crossing.
We're not having a crossing. We are just
No.
querying whether it's in the right position.
Yeah.
But,
Right, so as a curveball, why don't we have a Chester Road style crossing where you actually have traffic control combined with pedestrian crossing? It's a T-junction. You could do the crossings on both sides of the road, and you could do the crossing
Yeah.
on Church Road.
Yeah.
Right, so you know in Chester Road you've got three options to cross. The Henborough Road, Chester Road.
Yeah.
And I know it would slow traffic down, but it would certainly give safe options for
Yeah.
crossing on all possibilities, on three sides.
Yeah.
It'll be a lot more expensive, and it'll slow traffic down, and it'll probably annoy quite a lot of people, but it's another option. It solves the problem of Church Road getting congested to try and get out of there. There's a lot, I mean, it does lead into quite a big populace there in the estate. But I think we're a bit late in the day to sort of that because there's been a lot of work.
Well, there has been a lot of work, and they have got a set amount of money. I don't think they've got more money to contribute towards it. This is just what they have in a pot.
Well,
Don't,
if we take that back as something for them to look at, it might
yeah.
be a cost reason, but at least it's...
Duncan, do you understand that? To put that in the notes, have you got that? So have we got enough?
Right, yes, let's go back to our choices. I think well, to me, I support the proposal, but would like the council to consider
Yeah.
additional or alternative measures.
Yeah.
The other one is I object to part of the
No.
proposal,
No.
but support where I'm neutral to other elements of it.
so that's number 2, is it?
I'd go for number 2.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, I'd go for the second one.
The trouble is we'll never know until they've done it, and then we will
Yeah.
see how the kids react to it.
Yeah. How many end up as being
Wasn't
car mascots or?
Wasn't there also supposed to be a public consultation on this?
Yeah, they were. Yeah, well, there was meant to be a public. I presume it is. There is on. Is it on live? Whether they what? Let's talk. There is on Let's Talk. Yeah. Yeah. How it's being publicised or not, I don't know. So we've done comments. So yes, we support in principle a pedestrian crossing, but query the situation of it is if it's a puffin crossing, and then maybe consider an alternative of what's those? What are those?
Chester Road style T-junction,
Yeah.
however you're going to...
Chester Road, Henver Road junction.
Or have the crossing on the other side.
Yeah. Is that all right, Duncan? I think yeah. I think you've got 20,000 characters there. It says to play around with. No. When we think of how we were squishing stuff into 1,000 the other day. So do we need? Are we happy with that? With the form, or do we need to vote on that form?
Yeah, no, you need to...
So I propose.
Support but option.
Yes, I'm supporting but and Sandy seconded, and we're all for that. Yeah.
When do we have to get respond by?
I'm not certain when the deadline is,
Yeah.
actually. I mean, I can have a look.
Well.
I'd normally
To be
write that
safe,
down,
you
but...
you should really circulate saying this is what I think was the consensus view or something. But if not, we just trust you, which of course I do.
If you just check on that, Duncan.
I think I've bookmarked. Yeah, right. So the next
What, the let's talk? When you're saying a bit, Steve. Okay, Steve, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I've got a sentence from the Let's Talk Cornwall consultation page, which might be helpful. It said that this location has been identified as the most suitable as the western side is constrained by reduced visibility, limited space for vehicle manoeuvring, the presence of existing driveways, greater utility impacts, and its proximity to an existing crossing. So that's their rationale.
So, I mean, there's all of those as well. I mean, it's sort of, on the other side, yes, it's where there's access, isn't it, onto the cycle walking, that you're not going to put a crossing straight opposite somebody's access, are you, for...
It does suggest they've been there, but
Yeah.
Deadline is 5th of June.
Which is next week.
Which is next week, isn't it? So it needs doing.
Can we say something along the lines of we note their justifications? Because it'll just make it sort of silly if we just put something in, we back to square one.
Yeah.
I mean, our concern is that the wish use of this crossing, I mean, they can say all of that in that expression, but effectively the proof in the pudding is what on earth are the kids who are coming to school, what are they going to be doing? Are they going to turn right and then come back and turn left? I mean,
Well, one of the points about drop curb stuff, it could be, and the driveways, it could be that it's just not viable.
yeah.
I mean, it's really narrow pavement outside the hairdressers there as well, because, I mean, the bus stop, you know, it is literally a bus stop sign on the side of a house. It's really narrow, the pavement there. And they haven't got, I don't think they've got a seat, and there isn't a digital bus stop sign on that side. Oh, can we just have a look at the street view of the bus stop outside the hairdressers? So coming out of Newquay.
Seat there.
Is there a seat
I
there?
think there's a seat.
Perhaps I have seen kids sitting there. Oh, look, it's yours. It's yours. It's Sandy's. Other side of the road. Yeah, continue. Yeah, so go down, down. Keep going down. That's the bus stop. There's no bench. Oh, yes, there is a bench outside somebody's sitting room. That's a,
It's a seat.
It's not outside.
Oh, and it has got a digital one. I take it all back. But you see, there is, this building's up for sale at the moment, isn't it? I think there's all this planning going in. So, yeah, and can we just see the other side of the road? They were saying there were drives, weren't there, that were coming in? Yeah. And you've got Quick Fit as well. So they can't put they can't put a crossing on all of that.
I don't see why not. There's a wall between those two drives. If you go further up, they've all got, I mean, there are plenty of entrances. If you go the other way, Duncan, that way, go further up. So where's the crossing going to be?
Well, it's here opposite, up here, isn't it?
Oh, it's no pavement. So where's it going to be? They're going to get rid of the grass.
No, it's got the narrow on that side. Is the pavement there? Yeah. Okay, I think we've done it to death. I think, yeah. Right, moving on.
Right, so, sorry, I've come in all of that.
I
do
proposed,
apologise.
Sandy seconded, and we
Yeah.
were all in favour of the
Yeah.
second button.
Yeah, and then I've got a couple of comments that I will add
Yeah.
in the text box. Yeah,
Yeah.
No, that's lovely, thank you.
Duncan puts it in for his
Yeah,
and let it
I'm
pass.
happy. Yeah. You'll be on the phone to me. Right. Item 8, licensing applications. So we've got a minor variation for Finn's Cafe and Surf. Where's Finn's? Which one's Finn's? Beacon Road. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so Beacon Road, so it's on that roundabout where the Red Line is probably the best known premises down there.
Yeah.
So this is an older image, obviously. I think you'll remember it's not that long ago that we looked at the initial grant of a premises licence. So so we've got the interior area, which is where some changes are being made, and then they've got this outside decking area. I'll bring up the plan. This is a minor variation, so we're only looking at changes to the plan. They really are very slight. Just bear with for a moment. Battle with my computer.
They're in the back, aren't they?
Slightly different sizes, just let me get them so that they're roughly the same. Okay, so this is the existing,
Oh, that is interesting.
and this is the variation.
Sorry, can you do that again?
Yeah, certainly. I'll run through it here. So the variation.
There's a bit more in the storeroom.
The variation relates to minor internal changes within the premises. This includes converting a former storage room, which I think is this here, into additional customer seating. Internal seating is being rearranged. The counter area is being slightly extended as part of the ongoing works. The alcohol storage area, which was up here, is being relocated down here. So it's going to be closer to the bar area.
There's nothing external.
There's nothing external. That's really, to be honest, it's really a case of they're moving where the alcohol is stored from this far end to closer to where the bar is. It apparently enables them a little more seating. This is very minor stuff. I mean, my qualified opinion on this is that there's no reason why we should have a problem with this.
Yeah, Joanna?
I've imposed no representation.
Yeah, seconded. All those in favour? Yeah, brilliant, thank you. And then we've got another one, which is the Piccolo Grande. Again,
Contradiction in terms.
yeah, mixture of French and Italian there, I think. European. Or Ue or Dove, if we go for the Italian.
Right. Okay. So the entrance. This is 15A. East Street. I wasn't quite certain which premises it was. I've only seen old pictures of it, but it's one of those by Flounders, that kind of up the road slightly, and it is already open. It has been trading. I think there's a bring your own for many months already. I'll quickly run through the operating schedule, which is. They'll basically be open from, bearing in mind it's a restaurant, they will be open from 8 in the morning until 1 a.m. They've applied for alcohol. That will both be on and off sales. That's going Monday to Sunday, 8 in the morning until 11:30. They've got non-standard timings as well for New Year's Eve, which would take them through till 1:30 in the morning, with a terminal hour of 2. But that's just New Year's Eve. The tables, they won't be using them after 11 o'clock. They have asked for regulated entertainment, but that's literally only for New Year's Eve, so that's one night of the year. That will go on till 2 a.m. But otherwise, they wouldn't be asking for regulated entertainment any other any other nights. They may well have music playing, but as you know, that would be considered incidental. People don't go to a restaurant to listen to the music, they go for the food.
Joanna?
I've got no clue. Sorry, I've got no clue where this is. So could we
It's,
just-
if you Google it, Piccolo Grande, it has the street picture there. It's yeah, it's Italian Peruvian.
Was it Andy's Cafe? Ah, right. So are they going to be drinking on the street, on the pavement?
No, there's no room for them. Well, hopefully not. Well,
I'll show you the.
okay, that must be the back. Oh.
Millions of them. Let's just go. I'll just go on to here and we'll just go 15A.
Well, Piccolo Grande came up Newquay, and it came up as the first thing.
East Street.
So there's a little bit of room for a terrace.
Yeah, so Marcus Hill is here, so we're just a little bit up the road. Well, kind of between sort of Trebarwith Crescent and Bridge Road. Come down to street level. So it actually, I mean, 15A is actually coming up as Little Gem. I don't think it's that one. You think it's Andy's, yeah? Would that be? Is that this one?
It's the orange one next to the blue one.
Oh, right. God, is it that large? Wow. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, and they are sitting out on outside.
They've got
So-
yeah, but if we go to the
So where's the front? Where's the front door that we've just seen?
right, so the front door is on the left here.
Yes, so that doesn't make sense.
Okay.
So where,
let's-
that area where they've got 3200, and so if you scroll down, this is the pavement. So what's this little bit here? Oh, that's where the door comes out. The door, they've got a door coming out into the pavement. Is that normal?
I mean, basically, it's a pizzeria, isn't it? It's serving a bit,
Well, it's-
serving a bit of alcohol. Depends what the police think about it.
Right. So I've been in touch with Sue Edwards, the civilian police licensing officer. She advised the applicant before the submission of the application.
Oh, right, okay.
And she's confirmed, that she has no concerns.
She has no issues.
No.
Okay.
Regarding the outdoor area, I mean, I would have thought that would require a pavement licence.
They will have, what they're talking about is tables and then having a glass of wine.
Yeah, I mean, considering the area this is in, to be having alcohol on the pavement right there, I do have
It
no
is a
concern.
restaurant, not a bar.
Yeah. And the pavement area isn't, is it visually impaired friendly? It hasn't got a little barricade, not, I mean like a little barrier on either sort of coming in and out. So,
We aren't looking at the restaurant, so
I
I can't.
know,
So
I know.
I can't advise you on that.
I just,
I think it's one that I think I would say no representation and then see what happens. Because I don't think there's a problem, because it's only a pizzeria, for heaven's sake, it's not a bar.
yeah,
But they
I
will
ju-
be sitting out, I assume they will be sitting out on tables. Is
Yeah.
there a table? It's a bit blurry, I haven't got my glasses on.
there's two tables. Yeah, there's tables.
So that's what it
So
means.
it's gone. It's there's an established
Yeah.
thing. I mean, they might. I don't know. They might well own this
Yeah,
frontage
well,
anyway.
well,
They
it
have
looks like
included it with. They have
Boundary of
included it
premises.
within the
boundary of premises.
premises
yeah.
boundary. I mean, it looks very much, for instance, like next door the amusements do own this.
Yeah.
And it's quite likely that that's the case here. But,
Okay.
and there is an established precedent for having tables there. If it was a
Yeah.
bar, I could understand. I mean, I would suggest that
Yeah.
Sue Edwards
Okay.
might have an issue with it. As a restaurant, I suspect not.
It's disappointing. You see, what I didn't understand is that the pictures of it currently, the picture, the picture they've got here. Can we go to the plan? Can you go? Yeah, just click on. Okay, no.
It's a chain, isn't it?
No, I don't think it is a chain. I think it's a
No. Oh, it didn't know. That wasn't what I was
gallery.
looking.
There we go.
Probably just got food. It's just got a food.
Yeah. Great.
The picture I had was, you know, when you, it was the first thing that came up in Google Law, and it had a picture of outside. So the picture that the floor plan they've got has still got the sink and kitchen unit effectively in the window where it's not its seating. So this plan is out of date. But I mean, as you've said to us before, then that's not a reason for making representation. That's all because I mean, looking at the photograph there, they've got seating. You go in as if it was a cafe restaurant, and so all that bar is not there. The kitchen isn't there on all of this isn't there. That's all seating. So I do have a little bit of concern. So if that's wrong enough to,
So they've got the dining room at the back, they've got a corridor, they've got the entrance, and then you've got the red line, which is presumably where the tables go.
it would help if we could get this picture up there. I'm looking at. Yeah.
So the kitchen is outside the red line
So
area.
I just put in Piccolo Grande, and it came up with Newquay. Yeah. So click on the one it just says. Yeah. Click on that one, and is it? No, I know. I'm fine with that. It's the picture of what it is at the moment with seating in the window.
Well, it's a sink.
All I
Have
appear
you-
to be able to find is menus.
If you go,
I'm
if you
really
go back
sorry.
to that, click on images. Click on images. So if that street view, if we got a street view of that.
I've got some beautiful pictures of the Amalfi Coast.
Gosh.
So if you look at the diagram, the bar is to the left as you go through the door.
I tried their Facebook page.
It's
a menu.
Is that a sink on the left-hand side?
Yeah. So you've got a sink. You've got a bar. You've got a DW, whatever a DW is. And the street view
Right.
pit photo.
That's on their Facebook. Right.
yeah.
So we're going to have another look at their Facebook. Right.
You're thinking that the diagram isn't accurate, Sarah.
It isn't accurate. I mean,
Or it doesn't match the...
there's a photograph here of what it looks. Yeah, it's that one.
There we go.
Click on that one.
Thanks, Jacob.
Yeah, hold your mouse to the ground.
You see? So there's all the seating in the window, and you can see that all that's been ripped out, and it goes all the way back. Whereas in the plan, we've got the sink, you've got the kit bar and kitchen area. That's not there. I doubt if even the corridor is there.
So our query is the diagram accurate? Because it doesn't appear to look like...
Yeah, it
What's
doesn't.
online?
Yeah. So, so obviously they must have. I mean, whether this is still the kitchen area, which they say they're not licensing, or is this the bar? Where is the bar? Because it's not here.
You mean it isn't here in what they've converted?
No.
Well, it looks to me like it's probably this on this side.
Yeah. So for me, I don't really want to make a representation, but it would be nice to see accurate plans as to, so I'd say that we do make a representation because I think that the plans are too wrong with what's there, and we would be happy to withdraw that once we can just see accurate plans. Joe, you're pondering, does that make sense? I mean, to me, it bears no resemblance.
But it could be that the pictures are out of date. So all
Well,
we're
no,
trying to
but
do
no.
is to clarify why the date-
That's a brand new front for it. Before it was Andy's Cafe, so that's what they've created. So
Right, so the deadline for this is the 8th of the 6th. I'm quite happy to go down to the premises over the next few days, have a look at the plans, and then report back to you by email. We have got facility to make decisions with a pending deadline outside of the meeting, and then ratify it when we meet again on the 10th.
but how's that going to change for the plan that we would be so-called agreeing if you're just going, because that's very obviously in the picture, that is their new premises that they've created, and this is an old plan from what it was before.
If you're confident that that's the case, then that's fine. Sorry, I thought there was a suggestion that you
yeah,
weren't.
I know it's just a suggestion, Duncan, and you know, and it was a great one, but it's sort of like...
Sorry, I thought there was a suggestion that their layout might have changed since that photograph. That's why I was saying. But if you're confident with that, that's absolutely fine.
Well, how long's this place been operating? Do we know?
It's not that long, is it? Yeah.
So I mean, they're not going to have gutted it, and they're not going to have a kitchen, a sink in their window as a restaurant, are they?
We've got enough to make a representation, which we can remove
Yeah.
if they then
Put
were saying
in
we're
with the-
querying the
Yes,
accuracy of the
yeah,
plan.
absolutely. It's
Yeah.
not an objection, it's a
Representation.
representation.
Yeah,
Yes.
we're making a representation, we're
Yeah.
querying the accuracy of the plans,
Yeah.
which doesn't seem
Compared.
to look like what it does.
Yes. Yeah.
It wouldn't be the first time. They are absolutely going to have my head on a spike at central licensing team because we keep coming back to them with things like this.
So I'm
But we're
proposing
usually
representation. Sandy seconding. All those in favour? There we go. Okay, Duncan, is that all right? Yeah. And then they can come back, and then we can do a 5-day protocol on it.
Or whatever it is,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
so-
whatever they do. Right. Previous planning applications. I think we've got one.
Previous planning applications, we have a 5-day protocol which was Bedowan Meadows and the changes that they were making to their section 106 provision. 7 councillors responded by email, a slim majority choosing to agree to disagree with the officer recommendation to approve. And then we have 8 St Mary's Road, which we've seen many times. They were making changes to the dormer at the back. Just 4 councillors responded to that one. All chose to agree to disagree with the officer recommendation to approve.
Yeah.
And there weren't any non-material amendments that we had to deal with. So we
Okay.
just need to ratify those.
Yeah. So due process taken. Propose. Second. Sandy second. All those in favour? Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you. Oh, you've caught me with a mouthful of biscuit now. Okay, so planning applications then. So we've got list 1, which we sort of triaged.
And my recommendation, we
Yes.
actually took the nuclear one out.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything significant about it, but just,
Yeah.
I just didn't think it,
We're
any
gonna-
application where nuclear is the developer, we
Okay.
shouldn't just rubber stamp it through.
Okay, well, we're going to discuss that and that process here and later. So yes, that one's been taken out, hasn't it? So the first one on list 2 was application 2, which was PA 26/02880, 52 Quintrell Road, which was a single-storey rear extension and alterations. We said councillors agreed the scale and appearance of the proposed single-storey rear extension and alterations, including the materials to be used, would be quite suitable for this location and likely to harm the existing street scene, and was in line with policy H1 of the neighbourhood plan. Councillors were happy to support the application as per support the application, and then if they could do G2, which was the rainwater harvesting and renewable energy. So I'm happy to.
Can we? Sorry, I'm going to jump in here and be a
Okay.
bit quibbly. The idea of this process is that we just do these en bloc.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah, I mean, we don't really, we don't. That
Okay.
was what was agreed when we
Okay.
put the process in place.
Okay.
It's up to you if you want to go through them, but the idea was
Okay.
is that we can just go. These are those, and then kind of propose
Okay,
second
all right,
and,
okay.
and move them through en bloc.
They are very similar.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they're all single. I think they're all single stories. I mean, the next one was a single story extension at the rear, which was PA 26/02893 on 40 Hawkins Road. And then application 5 PA 26/02995 on 91A on Henver Road, and again that was an extension. And we did look at these, and they weren't creating new views, they weren't overlooking, it wasn't a problem at all. So I'm happy to propose that these go through with support. Joanna's seconding. Oh, we've got a question. No.
Sandy second, I'm just voting for it.
Oh, okay. And you're voting, right? We'll just wave multiple hands around in the air and get that covered. Right, brilliant. Okay. Right, list 2 applications. Right, what have we got first on here? Okay, so application 1 is PA 26/02692, which is the Killer Court, and this was put forward by Newquay Town Council. So, in terms of discussing this, so discussion's gone out on this. So I think in the future we haven't got it in our terms and conditions about just noting. When the application came up for the drop curb at the permaculture garden up on Pole Wheel, we noted it. Rather than sort of like discussing our own application, and that's what an awful lot of councils do, but it's not in our terms of reference to do that. So I think for this time, we will briefly discuss it. I presume we haven't had any public comments or anything, but I think when we get later on, when we get to the terms of reference, I think maybe we need to think about how. Can you just let me finish a minute, Joanna, please? So I think we need to think about how we change our terms of reference, and or then planning permissions that we put in as Newquay Town Council need to be presented to planning, maybe as a talk before, like the 5:30 slot before a planning meeting, or just presented to us, rather than actually we're having the application. Because if members of the public do have a comment, they will be expecting maybe of us to discuss it. So, I mean, it's a hard one as to really how to work forward. But today it's on list 2, so we are going to, Duncan can present it, and there's Yeah.
Okay.
John.
So we went through all this years ago. Planning look at things quite differently to the way a committee looks at it. I mean, there's a very sympathetic presentation in The Voice today about what's happening, and I just don't think this one is anything difficult at all. But we had we had a big row about when they put the units in, and they didn't have any drainage plans. So, and we objected on the basis that they didn't have any change, and we got accused of being treacherous and traitors to Newquay Town Council and all the rest of it. But we do have an independent view when we look at things from planning board. And the decision at that, I don't know, were you there, Duncan, at this stage, or was it prior to your time? Yeah, and the idea was exactly what you said, is that if there's going to be an application from the town council, we don't have I think they've established that we don't have an interest. We are entitled to look at it. But the idea was that someone would actually come along and tell us this is what it is and this is what this is. And do you have any problems from it? From a and I mean, I don't actually have any problem with this. I thought it was I think that it's always, lighting is always tricky, but from what it's not actually here, but from what The Voice was saying, what you're planning to do is really good. You know, they're bringing it, the lighting is going down at Chimed and all the rest of it, if that is actually what is happening. But I think we still have a role to actually look at these things. But it would be good if the committees could actually, as you say, come and talk to us first, so that we're not going to suddenly turn around and say... And the irony about the drainage one was that we were absolutely right. And Joe is currently trying to fix the problem that they got a drainage plan which didn't allow for the Mount Wise runoff. And I'm thinking, how did that manage to get through? But for this one...
So I think, so we're going to discuss this one, and then I think when it comes down to terms of reference, I think we need to think about how we might change that then in the future, in terms of whether there is a statement in about Newquay Town Council applications, because I mean they're really rare. Joe?
I think we're talking about two different things, so let's try to stick to the purpose of this item of the agenda, and we will put a firewall and then we'll talk about the terms of reference later.
Yeah, I think what would happen, we were requested to put it, to have it on list 1 for noting, because that's what a discussion we'd had before. But Joanna requested it for it to go onto list 2. So I'm just sort of explaining this movement.
That's great.
Yeah.
But let's move on.
Yeah. Okay, Duncan, do you want to take us then through PA 26/02692?
Yeah, certainly. Start with our location. Firstly, in terms of comments, we have support from the police as they feel that this will make it a much safer space. Coastal Protection Authority and the Environment Agency have also raised no objection. They've obviously been consulted because of its proximity to the cliffs, the crumbling cliffs of Newquay. Quick bit of background. So, following the reward of a government grant, which was given in March 2020 for the Town Council's proposal to regenerate Kilcourt. One of the funded projects was a lighting design for the Kilcourt. At present, the Kilcourt is only lit in the evenings by strip lighting on the benches down the Central Park and 2 lighting columns, one at the top and one at the bottom by the steps of the Blue Reef Quarry. And we have quite a nice view of one of those columns there. Our CCTV manager has advised that the Kilcourt can be incredibly difficult to see at night, and making it hard to track and monitor any increased social behaviour. The purpose of the lighting design was to enhance lighting at the Kilcourt.
Duncan, you can microphone.
The purpose of the lighting design was to enhance the lighting on the Kilcourt, to not only make it a more welcoming, safer space in the evenings, but also provide enough ambient lighting to assist our CCTV team with monitoring that area. And as has been explained, this was on list 1. It has been requested that it be put on list 2 for full discussion. So, We have our location plan. I mean, I think that we are all familiar with the Killer Court. We've got an existing layout. I can actually see 3 lights there. Maybe this one here that we were looking at on the street scene wasn't included, but as you can see, we have a very small number of lights there. These tiny black dots here. These will be removed and replaced, just so that you're aware of that, if this were to be permitted. The proposed layout. So we've got these little black dots, which are the proposed new lighting. There are 23. The height of posts varies from 4 to 5 metres. I've managed to dig out an example of an existing column and light of the style that they're going to put in, which is in fact, I say I dug it out. It's from the planning statement. I'm taking credit where I shouldn't do. So this is an existing installation of the proposed columns and lanterns, given their correct name, and this one was installed in 2024 in Southampton. So this is what we're looking at. We're going to have 23 of these in total. That's the proposal that has been put forward in the application submitted by Joe Piwecki.
And these are where, as in relationship to the 2 blocks of flats?
Let's go back to the... So the majority of them are going down the central path and along the bottom here. So you've got the retirement homes here. Yeah. It looks like there are 3 here, but I believe that they are angled.
They're downward shining, they're not going to...
I read in The Voice today that they're going to be, I'm looking at Steve because he probably knows more about this than anybody, that they're actually going to, the light is going to be reduced next to the flat so that they don't get, and I would say, I always forget what the name of is it Penmeryn, the big block of flats to the right?
I must admit, I get them confused as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's 2 lights. There's those at the end, but they're not as close as these ones. And,
that's Chime Meadow at the bottom.
Yeah.
No, Chime Meadow is at the bottom.
Yeah. But this one, they're not really that close to it. But I mean, I presume they're all angled down. They're not like the old street lighting, which sort of like, in space.
Yeah, I mean, if we go back to the example.
Yeah. So.
And we've not had any representations from either of the flats.
No, other than the comments that I mentioned, I haven't seen any others. And obviously the application is accompanied by lots and lots of technical details around luminance and hazard avoidance, etc., and maintenance.
So, what I would like to do is propose support subject to confirmation from the officer that there is no detrimental effect on the light. I see no reason why it should, the light going to the adjacent flats. I'd just like him to have a look at that.
So before we go into seconding anything, could I just raise, do we have a visual impact assessment on this?
No, we don't have a visual impact assessment. No, there isn't one.
Because, I mean, part of the Killer Court's charm is, and it comes up when people propose surf statues and other paraphernalia, is that it actually has a good aspect from the top of the Killer Court onto the sea during a sunny day. And a visual impact assessment would help us understand what it involves.
Could you ask for confirmation from the officer alongside light nuisance that it wouldn't cause harm to the existing scene? Possibly.
There is a report, but it's in Greek as far as I can see. So there is a report in the documentation of 18 pages of it that, I mean, we just want the reassurance that it's not going to be shining through into anybody's windows. I don't think
Well,
it...
it's got, what have you got? Lighting design hazard elimination. What's in that document there?
That's to do with the
Wiring.
management of, well, it's got
Right,
the
okay.
electricity. Right, here we go. Visual impact, light pollution, intrusion. Right, so it's saying assessment of risk before design, and it's saying low. Wherever reasonably practicable, new units have been designed to be in keeping with the road characteristics, reduce light pollution and light intrusion. And an action that has been taken is that the columns are being positioned to minimise light intrusion into adjacent homes, and so the risk level is still low. It's not, although it says visual impact there, it's not actually referring to the point that Joe made, which is effectively impacting.
Large, flat, 4-metre poles on the German people sticking out the ground.
Yeah, so I mean, it hasn't addressed that.
Oh, right, I thought you meant actually.
No, it's all right. I mean, I understand we're across purposes, but
Yeah, yeah.
I wasn't talking about the luminescence. I was talking
Okay,
about
no, yeah.
What it looks like, what they look
Yeah.
like.
the actual poles. Yeah.
Have we got an artist's impression?
All that we've got, I'm afraid, is that example from the planning statement.
I mean, I'm looking at a highly developed space here, and part of what we're trying to do with Kilcourt is to minimise the development point. Now, I'm not opposed to what's happening, and I think there's extremely good reasons why.
Is your microphone on?
I think there's extremely good reasons why we've come here, because of security and various other things. But let's not lose sight about what Kilcourt is and what it represents.
I agree with you, except is that not the role of the committee that passed this? It's planning stuff that we're doing here.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's our role to say they're not particularly pretty.
So this
It is our role to
through
say
ENF.
if it's affecting the amenity of the adjacent flats is our role. I would assume that the committee actually looked at how they would actually be placed on
So-
Kilcourt. I hope they had.
This has already gone through ENF, so
Yeah.
to be agreed. So, Joe's.
I'd just say that what it looks like is a material planning consideration. So you're very free. You are absolutely very free to say we do or don't like the look of it. We think that the look of it will harm the Kilcourt. We think the look of it won't harm the Kilcourt. It's a material planning consideration.
We're discussing it at a late stage in our in the piece of work, and the table, Duncan, that you pulled up earlier did look at luminescence, but it didn't look at street scene or aspect. So there we are. I understand that I haven't tracked the journey of this application, and it's landed now. But I've raised a question, and I haven't received any assurance that it's actually being discussed, apart from an assumption that it was discussed in another committee.
So this is exactly the process we need to discuss later on in terms of reference, so we're not in this position again. So what Is somebody going to make a proposal on
I'm
this?
going to repeat my proposal because my assumption is, on the assumption that the committee looked at the aesthetics in the Killer Court, I just want some reassurance from the officer that there is no effect on the amenity of the adjacent flats by the additional lighting. I have no reason to suppose there is, but I just want him to look at it. But other than that, I'm happy to support it. But you are absolutely right, Sarah. We should have had a discussion with the committee before it came to planning.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what we did agree how many years ago when we had this big fight before.
So I think, yeah, that, whatever has happened, got lost somewhere.
Because we haven't had any applications.
Yeah, we hadn't had any applications for so long until Pole Wheel, and we just noted,
No,
really, because it was a drop curb for disabled access. And
no, it wasn't.
so, but Joe's making a different point, though, in terms of the aesthetic.
Yeah, there's a difference between luminescence
And the aesthetic. So you're worried about the aesthetic integrity of the Killer Court, with then having different multitude of lighting coming through it.
Well, the busyness of the furniture that you could describe it that way. You could describe it as a but that's where I'm starting. What I'm seeing, it doesn't look like So that photo, I know it isn't Killer Court, but it doesn't look like the vibe of Killer Court.
That's the old Imperelli building that is built on. I think that became a park, or I don't know. It's a long time since I've been in Southampton. Jacob?
I was just reading the planning statement.
Yeah.
Under planning policy context 5.2.1, it goes into about how the columns look, and it does say that the materials and finishes are chosen to complement existing public realm elements on the Killer Court.
Problem with developers, though, is they they do tend to gild the lily a bit. I mean, I'm convinced, I'm satisfied that they have actually taken. I understand your point entirely, but I think, I think, I mean, it's not. They're not going to be beautiful, but they are useful. But I mean, I would have hoped the committee would have actually discussed this. Jacob, you weren't actually in the committee that did it. And your point is absolutely right. We should have discussed this as two committees outside the formal, so we could say just that.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if we raised it as like no objection, pending the luminescence rather than support.
I'll go for that, no objection, pending
The luminescence.
reassurance that the
And
the
the-
luminescence is
and
not going to
this-
affect the amenity of the adjacent flats.
Yeah, and the aesthetic.
I mean,
Are
when
you,
look
want
at-
are you wanting to say that you want the officer to confirm there will be no material harm to the...
Yes,
to
thank
the-
you,
to the
Duncan,
sea?
thank you.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So, don't stamp it. Yeah, oh, well, okay, well, I'll second then, if John is proposing. Yeah, okay.
Before we go to the vote, I think I'm going to object to this. I'm going to vote against this motion because of the points I've made previously. But I think I ought to I'm just going on record now. This is not to do with the fact that lighting is needed on the Killer Court.
No.
It is a security issue, and I support all of those things. But as the application is presented at the moment, I'm not convinced that it's been robustly considered at the points I've made, and that's why I'm going to vote against it.
Wanted some sort of visual impact
Yes,
assessment.
that's something along those lines. And I think if it ever comes back, then with that in mind, then we can look at it then. But
Yeah.
that's my position as stated now. So.
Yeah.
I believe that consultation did take place with the neighbours, so that's a big thumbs up to the application, and I don't believe
Is
that
that
there was...
information provided?
In the application, is that there?
If it is, I haven't seen it, but my understanding, talking to Joe, was that was something that took place.
expect any developer to come up with a bit of evidence.
It might be there, Joanna. I haven't. I
Jacob?
don't have the time to go through these things with a fine-tooth comb as I'd like.
Just to answer that point, yeah, consultation letters were sent on the 24th of March, and we did have positive responses supporting the scheme back from Chi-Medon.
And that is
Yeah.
in the,
That's in the planning statement as well.
that's in the practice.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, well, it's just showing us to be robust, isn't it? If not necessarily, yeah. So proposed second. I propose seconded, and then all those in favour of no objection. So 3 of us, and then yes, there's Culvery over there in the corner, the Culvery chair. Right. Okay. So when we get later on to terms of reference, we'll see if we can hammer something out more for next time. Right, application for PA 26/02890, 134 Mount Wise. Change of use from guest house with 9 bedrooms to mixed use HMO guest house with 8 bedrooms.
Okay, so what you're looking at
Sorry.
is a picture from 2021 showing the Morden Bar and Lodge. Yeah, a guest house with 9 bedrooms. Change of use takes it to a house of multiple occupation with 8 bedrooms. There are no noticeable changes to the outside, but there is some change to the floor plan, namely that there is a small kitchen, and I think that is going to be turned into a kitchen. So that's your kind of 9 bedrooms to 8 bedrooms. There was some uncertainty as to whether it already is operating as an HMO, because there is a public comment in support that says that it is. The application form clearly says that it isn't. So there's a slight kind of disconnect between between its current state. I don't know if that's would be an issue at the end of the day. It's going to if it were approved, it would become an 8-bedroom guest house, whether it is currently a 6-bedroom, as the comment says, or whether it is a guest house at the moment, or a redundant guest house. They have managed to cram ever such a lot onto the one document.
Do we know who Mr. Guy Quint is? Because having known that it's already licensed as an HMO with the maximum of 6 households and 6 persons, is this application going against its license as well? And as you say, it's saying it's a guest house at the moment. So
I looked for the license because
Yeah.
there is a register on the Cornwall Council site.
yeah,
I couldn't find the license. However, that doesn't mean that it's not there. I think it ends with the number 24, and there are certainly licenses that have later numbers than that.
right.
The fact that it's not on there doesn't mean that there isn't one, because you'd be assuming that Cornwall Council update this every time one is granted, and as an ex-Cornwall Council employee, I wouldn't be convinced, I wouldn't be certain, or I wouldn't be surprised if new licences were granted and the register wasn't updated immediately.
So, I mean, so is this, so it could be that it's retrospective planning permission?
It
In other
does
words-
not say that.
It doesn't say
It
that.
does, the application, this is the sort of slight sticking point with this, is that it does not say it. What I will do before we sort of carry on with that part of the discussion is just to say, you asked about the bedroom. If you look at the, if you look at the top middle diagram, floor plan there, which is the existing first floor, we are told there is a very small box room marked bedroom 6. And if you look at the corresponding proposed, you'll see that bedroom 6 has now become a kitchen. And we are told that that is the only change that is taking place materially inside the building.
It must have been minute as a bedroom.
I know, it's like, yeah.
But I mean,
Very good review. The guest house had very good reviews.
effectively what it's saying is we want to have permanent people here on a
Yeah,
HMO
no.
basis, and we want to let out some of the rooms to take advantage of the summer prices. So I have to say I'm happy with the changes. They're putting a kitchen on the first floor. So you've got two kitchens, which is nice.
I'm concerned though if that licence is for 6 people, that's a huge difference. So we're giving them,
It's adding another 2.
yes, but this is with planning permission as opposed to their licence, isn't it? That's what I'm concerned, is that we seem to have a mismatch of information. That then we're giving planning permission then for 8. But then does their licence only say 6 persons? And of course it's 8 bedrooms. That's going to hold a lot more than 6 people. So I don't want to give...
No, I
sort
believe
of-
that they are I think that they are, it does say on the application form that it's, that they
Single
are
rooms.
single, yeah. I don't think that they're looking...
But it's still-
They are looking, I don't believe that they are looking to fit 16 people in there, for instance.
Right, but I'm still concerned that we're going to give him planning permission, then, which is then counteracting what this supposed person's put in is that what they're licensed for. That's why I was just wondering who Mr. Guy Quint is in relation to this.
Yeah. I mean, their licence, the HMO licence, isn't a planning issue. It is up to one arm of Cornwall Council to kind of say this has gone
To
through,
talk
and
to the other.
and to talk to the other, and the responsibility also lies with whoever is running the HMO.
So I propose no objection, pending that the planning officer is happy with it tallying in with its licence.
Does it, just as a matter of interest, does it need different room sizes if it's an HMO? Whereas a guest house, you don't have to have... I mean, that bedroom 6 must have always been dreadful.
What do you
In
mean,
terms
like a
of minimum
minimum
living
space
space, yeah.
standard? I honestly don't know. I'm not certain. I look at that in terms of dwelling houses and flats. I'm not certain. I'm not certain how that translates into HMOs.
I think this is retrospective as well, so they can have some people living there.
Regularising because they didn't have to have a licence as a guest house. And now they have to have a licence as an HMO, a large HMO.
But it sounds as if they have one.
Does it?
Yeah.
Well, their designation
For 6 people.
Their designation was a guest house. So why would they have a licence as an HMO?
Because they haven't done their change of use. And that this is retrospective.
Yes, it's
so-
retrospective, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying
They've
no
got
objection.
they have got a licence, have they?
We are told
Well,
that they have, but I
yeah.
can't
It's
find
on- it's
evidence
on
of
there.
it. But the number that they've quoted does make sense when you look at the register. It's just that it's not on the register, and I suspect that's because Cornwall Council don't update the register as regularly as they could do.
Do you know if fire's been consulted on this with being an HMO? Because I think, isn't there different...
They certainly should be.
Would it be down there on their list of consultees?
Yeah, do you want me to,
Because HMOs,
do you
they
want me
need
to
to
have a
have,
look?
they need to have sprinkler systems and things, don't they? I'm sure HMOs
Yeah,
do.
bear with for a moment.
We did try and insist that we do that in the neighbourhood plan, and we were told the only thing we could do was in Wales.
I thought legislation actually changed with that.
I know when we tried to do it in the neighbourhood plan, because the FAR was asking us to do
Yeah.
it, they came back and said, no, you can do it in Wales, but the law in the land in England doesn't require that. It should do, but it didn't. Now, whether the law has changed in the last 5 years.
I think typically you'll have the usual site allocation comment. Says we've got no comment. There you go, Cornwall Fire and Rescue Service.
And they've raised no objections. Okay,
No,
that's
they
fine.
haven't, yeah, they've
Yeah, they've
raised,
put no
yeah, they
objections.
have.
So I'm still going to propose there no objection pending the licensing and the officer checks on that then with the amount of people that can
But
be there.
if he finds that they haven't, he can't do it, he can't refuse the application on those grounds, because it's not, the licence isn't a planning matter.
Well,
That's
I-
well, we can't, if he says, oh, it's not done, then that kind of suggests that we're objecting, and we can't object on the grounds that they've not got that licence, because it's not a planning matter. See what I mean? I mean, we could, we could say something like, we encourage them to update their licence, but...
Well, we can, yeah, so I'm still going to keep it, I still think, no objection. And, but if we make the suggestion then that they update their licence, and I also, I mean, I have the concern as well that this is retrospective, effectively, you know, as opposed to it being a fully functioning guest house.
If we were to say then, so you want to raise no objection, if we were to say this does appear to be a retrospective application, and we would expect the owner to update their existing licence.
Yes, thank you, Duncan. Yes.
I think that's what all I'm doing is
yes,
interpreting what you're saying.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, with much more clarity and dexterity. Vocal dexterity. I don't know if you can have vocal dexterity. Anyway, seconder. All those in favour? There we go. Sorry, that was a bit long-winded, wasn't it?
Well, it helps if the applications are a little bit more
Yes,
on point,
accurate.
doesn't it, really?
Yeah. Right,
Anyway.
application 6, PA 26/01504, Escape Hotel. 1 Mount Wise, reconstruction of failed retaining wall. Yes, what have they got on offer now then? Are they going to paint stone on it?
Design and access thing.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Practicing your mural skills.
Right, okay.
It's retrospective.
So you'll see that on your comments document that you have our previous objection and,
Yeah.
and one public objection from someone whose name we may recognise. We objected to this application for the reconstruction of the failed retaining wall
Yeah,
at our meeting on the 18th of March.
yeah.
Your key concern was that the appearance of the reconstructed retaining wall would not blend in, would not be in keeping with its surroundings, and would be jarring to the eye. We now have a revised application to consider. The DNA statement tells us that this revision relates solely to an amendment to the proposed external finish of the reconstructed retaining wall. The previously proposed rendered finish has now been replaced with a natural stone cladding system to provide a more visually appropriate and durable finish within the scene. I think I mean, to be honest, we may as well just have a quickly refresh our memory on what it looks like at the moment. I did wander past, and it's this afternoon, and it does still look like this.
Well, how do they describe that?
Weeping cement.
Natural stone finish.
No, this is not. This is not the natural. This is what we're upset about. So yeah, so it's just to remind you why.
Is it still looking like that?
It is. I checked a few hours ago. It is still looking like that. So, right. So, we'll start off with the design and access statement, which you don't usually do. So, it's useful because we've got this aerial image of the site, and then we have a little bit of background as well, which I think that you'll remember, but in November last year, an inspection was undertaken by Cornwall Council, concluding that the boundary wall was in a dangerous condition, and a formal notice was issued under Section 78 of the Building Act. Urgent action was required and was taken, and I think that's why it's a retrospective, because they had to act quite quickly. The works undertaken comprise strengthening and reconstruction of the fading wall, along with appropriate works to ensure free draining, and the absence of that free draining supposedly had caused the wall to deteriorate in the first place. Right, so just kind of come down. So the revision itself. So it's proposed that the reconstructed retaining wall be externally finished in a natural stone cladding system in place of the previously proposed rendered finish. The proposed No, it hasn't happened yet. The material is Fernhill stone, LG natural blue ledge stone, which incorporates a subtle grey and brown tonal variation.
Can you just wait on that one? I want to Google what that.
Well, so they're asking for a retrospective permission, which has so far been refused, or they've been told that they aren't going to get that permission unless they make it look nice. And the idea is that they're going to clad it with this, and it will look nice. They'll be approved, and everybody will be happy. Won't have windows in it. I'll just point that out.
Fernhill bluestone comes from Ireland. So we've got an Irish stone replacing basically a Cornish wall from Cornish stone. I also have concerns in sort of like, they say the drainage has improved, but I couldn't see any drainage holes in that new block wall.
There aren't drainage holes in it because I will go back to this. I did try and communicate this last time, but I think it was my point was lost somewhat. So they have, just make that slightly larger. So they have provided us with structural details of how the drainage will work. So it's surface water drainage to be resolved and land drain behind wall to be linked into surface water draining solution to remove water from rear of wall. So there is technical work.
A drainage
it's not
system in place.
It's not one that's going to have pipes coming out and water flushes out onto the onto the pavement, but the technical, it would appear that the technical work has been done to make sure that the same thing doesn't happen again.
Has someone from Cornwall Council Drainage Suds actually verified that? But it's an appropriate
I
I
Hopefully
presume
building-
that,
building regs.
this will be subject to building control
Yeah.
as well.
So the other thing is normally if you're doing a cladded wall, when you build that back wall, you'll have pins coming out that the cladding is then fixed onto. That doesn't exist at the moment.
I looked at a YouTube video of this, and there are no pins. It's a mortise, and it does describe in the DNA statement. It does describe, where are we? Oh, I'm not going to be able to find it now. Here we go. So the proposed natural stone is 30 millimetres thick with a 10 millimetre bonding. It's mortared into place.
Where it's stuck on the wall. Okay.
Yeah, it is stuck on. There are
So
no
th- so-
pins involved, and the company shows how it is put on. There are no pins involved.
So it's 3 centimetres thick with a centimetre glue sticking onto the wall. You see, for me, they removed an historical Cornish wall made out of Cornish stone. So in terms of the aesthetic,
Yeah, they did that obviously because they'd had a
yes, I know
yeah.
what they had to do that, but they should be replacing it with Cornish stone.
It's not, it wasn't a Cornish wall.
No, but it was made, well, it was a cemented Cornish, no, it wasn't a classic wall with the soil on the top and the plants growing out the top, but it was a cemented historical wall on that corner, which would have been made out of local stone. And it's,
Like Church Lane, for example.
yes, like Church Lane, it's a cemented wall, stone wall, made out of local stones. So it's up to you guys, really, if you think that sharp-edged grey slate, just because it's grey slate, it's a very different grey slate to the one that was taken down, as to whether you think that's suitable.
Is that what it used to look like?
That's what it used to look like.
It's a nice wall.
Being replaced with that very sharp cut Irish stone. In terms of sustainability, if we're looking at it, it's not very sustainable. You know, you've got heavy rock that's being carted a long way when we're meant to be, you know, in terms of Cornwall Council and sustainability, it's falling a bit flat on its face. I mean, it's not coming from India. I suppose that's a bit of a blessing. But
Could we look at that picture of the facing again?
if you think that's...
Obviously, there are no windows in it.
So that's interesting, because I would not take that as not the, that's not facing, that is actually a building made out of things. So the blocks on the ends, this is built out of slate blocks, probably in Ireland, I imagine. This isn't facing, slate facing. You can tell on the corner, it's you've got actually, this is made up of a wall. It's not facing.
I can go by
Yeah,
what the company have, you know, have shown us.
So, yeah.
Again, it's the aesthetics of it, isn't it?
It's the aesthetics, isn't it?
The objection,
Goes on forever, doesn't it?
well, yeah,
Comprehensive, I
privacy
think.
is obviously not a strong point, but the point it's making is that there's slippage in fulfillment, and it's not enforceable. Yeah, sorry, public objection is that there's a risk to slippage of fulfillment, and it's not enforceable. So otherwise we're going to end up with, you know, a bit of whitewash over a block concrete wall.
On renders,
It's okay.
yeah.
So,
So, what are we saying then? No objection with a sulky face. That'd be my sulky face.
Or you could object on the basis
That it's not using, I don't know, I think,
does that fit into the historic environment?
and local aesthetic. Still,
Why
it's,
did they put the block over? I mean, what was the reason that the block went to the right?
to make it a stronger wall. I mean, the wall was collapsing; it was bulging outwards and was dangerous. Obviously, all they can do now is put a not veneer. What's it called? Cladding on it, because the traffic light is there, and it's only got that distance around at the back of the traffic light.
Very short distance.
It's a very small distance there. So ideally they would have set that wall further in, and then actually probably they would have had it better, and they're obviously thinking that it could just render it and paint it. See, I mean, you see the distance there. So basically the wall that, that the distance there between that and the post and the wall is where the distance is that they've put the new block wall. If you look your current photo of it currently, Duncan.
So it's render.
No, it's got no render on it yet. So if you look at it, you see they've built the wall. Look at the distance between the post and that. So they've built this wall up until the edge of the old wall. They might have taken in a bit here to blend it in with that. But you look at where it is compared to the tactile paving. Sorry, if you can zoom in on the tactile paving. There's no gap. So they're going to be cladding over the tactile paving. So actually, no, on my observation from that, then I'm objecting.
So what the public objector is saying, which I tend to agree with him, he says the proposed render and paint finish, is that what we're being asked about? Because that wasn't what I was looking at when you displayed that on the wall. That didn't, you talked about it being Irish, but that wasn't a render and paint finish, was it?
No,
So
no.
so what was going to happen was this wall was going to be, well, the block wall aspect of it was built. They had to do it retrospectively. They had to do it quickly because the wall, they were served a notice, so the wall had to come down and be rebuilt as a matter of some urgency. But the application was that they would build the wall and then render and paint. So they built the wall, and then we saw the application before the render was applied and before the paint was applied. So it still looks like this.
But they're not
and that's
render and paint finish there.
they've revised the application so that it has this stone cladding on the rather than having, I think they were going to render it and paint it grey, weren't they? And they tried to argue that the grey would fit in beautifully with the stonework, which nobody agreed with.
I mean, they dug it way back. I watched them when they collapsed the wall out and they dug it all out. And they went back a long way because the top is the gravel with the so-called drainage. I'm still concerned that there aren't holes at the bottom, but I am assuming that building regs have done something about that, and we're in planning anyway. That they have not left enough distance for the cladding between the wall and the traffic light and the tactile paving. And so, yes, they might have taken it in there to match the wall on this side, but I don't think that they've left enough room down here.
So we're talking about 4 centimetres, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
That's a centimetre mortar and 3 of brick.
Yes.
So I almost wonder if we ought to
Walk up the
or
road.
to stop the meeting for a moment and do a site visit, because I don't believe that you can. What I feel is I don't believe that you can see what the distance of this post is from that wall and whether it would fit it or not. If you want to, if you want to base your objection on that,
Well,
then
then-
that's fine. But
then
I
the-
don't think that we've actually got any evidence here and now to back that up.
If there was plenty of room, and we don't think there is, would we object to their stone cladding solution?
No, if they were using Cornish stone.
So we want to use Cornish stone. We accept that they can do stone cladding. Our preference would be Cornish stone, though I don't think that is a planning consideration. But we have strong doubts that it's actually feasibly possible because of the relationship with the traffic lights.
The traffic light and the tactile paving.
Yeah,
Joe?
I mean, here's a question. So, has the wall that we're looking at on that photo been built with the original application in mind, which was render and paint? Okay, so if it was, and then they've changed it to 3 centimetres of cladding, the wall's in the wrong place, because render and paint is that thin. Cladding is 3 centimetres or more. So they built it in the wrong place.
Will come back as a 5-day protocol, won't it, isn't it?
It's a very tight area.
Yeah. Yeah.
But not because of the stone cladding, but because it's not possible.
No, and I still would have, yeah.
I don't think you could object if that you prefer Cornish.
I would like the comment made, though, I'd like a sustainable alternative, Cornish stone in preference, if possible. Steve?
I was just going to say that you could certainly express your disappointment at the
Yeah.
use of materials in this
Yeah,
case.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
something you could certainly do.
Yeah. I think so. In terms of Cornwall Council sustainability and with looking for that local aesthetic, because it's such an important corner. I mean, most traffic that comes into Newquay, and especially if they're coming down through that way into Newquay, see that corner regularly.
You're convinced, because I have no idea. Because effectively they can't put 3 centimetres of...
It's very,
Well, 4 centimetres. I think. Well, as I say, yeah. Yeah. It's on the planning officer to decide on that, I think, when yeah. Because they would have built that wall with as you said, Joe, they thought they were going to just render it and paint it.
No, we're going to object.
Sorry, Steve. Yeah,
I was just going to say that they've clearly gone for the quickest, cheapest route without thinking about the use of
Yeah.
materials or
Yeah.
the visual impacts on the vernacular in that area. So,
Yeah.
you know, you are where you are with it, unfortunately, because that work has happened. So
Yeah.
you can certainly express your disappointment in the use of materials that they're proposing.
So even though that picture of the Fernhill supposed cladding that was shown is quite large pieces, and it says on there that it's suitable for a curved wall, but those large pieces would not work on that curve because the curve's too tight.
That is probably building services rather than...
It's going to be
We're not really in planning.
No, I
The solution
know.
is probably acceptable, although we're disappointed that it's not Cornish stone. But the secondary thing is, we just don't think it's going to work.
I don't think it's going to work
But
because
that's not really a planning issue.
if you've got pieces which are so big as stone cladding, which is what that image is purveying, then putting those on, do you see what I mean? On the tight curve where it's by the steps, it's going to be sticking out. It's not going to make the curve within that's 4 centimetres. Steve, you're twitching.
I think you're just going to go over the same ground several times with this one. You probably just need to come to a decision on this planning application.
Enough to object, but we are seriously concerned that whether it's actually possible.
Well, I think we can object, and if the planning officer comes, it will come back as a 5-day protocol, and we've expressed our concerns, and we can then go agree to disagree on it. So,
are we objecting on the quality of the facing, the facing
yes.
stuff?
Yeah. That's what.
It's very difficult to do that.
So, do I have a seconder for the objection?
No, could you put it into some words, please? Because this has kind of gone round the houses a lot. I've got 3 points here. I've got that you would have preferred local stone. I've got that you don't believe that there's enough room between the wall and the street furniture, and I've got that you don't believe that the stone could do the curve. That's the things that I've taken from this, and I don't know what is your objection based on, all of that or one of those. That's why if it could be.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
It's like
Struggling to know what I would be writing.
It's one of those things that you can object to the aesthetics or something, and you can object to. What you can't object to is whether it's going to work or not, because that isn't our responsibility. It's the same like the cliffs. They're going to say we could object to we're blue in the face that if they put something on the top of a cliff it's going to fall, but it isn't a material planning reason. We just don't think it's going to work.
Yeah, no, the appearance is.
Yeah.
There's no reason.
And you can voice your concern, or you can use that as a basis for objection. But I think, as Joanna says, I think that the other aspects are, you can mention them, but they wouldn't be considered material planning considerations.
I think the problem here is that there's the point in the public comments is that if the works don't proceed, then there's no enforceable mechanism of making sure that the finish is acceptable. But again, I'm struggling to see where we can put that into an objection. The problem is about enforcement. It's not necessarily about the stage that we're at.
For me, it's sort of like, if we were to say no objection and it just looks awful, we've got, it is about that enforcement, isn't it? And I just...
So are we saying that the choice of finishing material it does not suit the street scene? That would work.
Sorry, Steve. Yeah, I'm just.
Sorry, I was just going to say that whilst the local planning authority will obviously take into consideration those material planning grounds, as a consultee in the process, you can say things that might not necessarily be material because you have concerns about all the points you've raised. So as a consultee, I think you can still make comments that might stray beyond those material points because you are concerned about the use of materials, the visual impact on the vernacular, and the impact it does make in terms of the local heritage at that location. So whilst they might not be material, they are your views as a local consultee.
So I'm still holding to the objection on those grounds then that Steve has just very eloquently.
The proposed solution does not match
the historical aesthetic.
Well, we've got a policy on that, so policy and anyway, we don't think it's going to work. Then you're saying we can send them we like, and anyway, we don't think it's going to work because it's too thick to go near the lamppost. And we're perfectly entitled to say that. Perfectly entitled to say that.
And can we make concerns about the enforceability of of the works as well, and just make a comment about it.
What is that comment?
Well, I think we can make reference to the public comments. We can talk about the fact that if the cladding does need to go ahead, it needs to be finished to an acceptable standard within an acceptable time frame. And
I think
in reference to the public comments, we're concerned about how enforceable that is.
when Duncan's pondering how to word that, can I propose we extend? I'll say an hour. It should be less than an hour. Seconder. Second. All those in favour. Oh. Right. So before your head hits the desk.
Have we had a vote on that?
No, not yet. And if it comes back as the planning officer has taken it on board, and it'll come back as a 5-day protocol, and then we can do that, isn't it? Yeah. So.
I'm happy to say, if you're
I'm still proposing objection.
Right, I will second the motion.
Yeah. All those in favour of objection? Yeah. Oh, good grief. Who'd think that 6 metres of wall? Right, okay, application 7. PA 26/03456. 7, the watermark, Lusty Glaze Road, that old chestnut coming back. Duncan?
Right, okay. So yeah, the overhead image just shows the Glendorgal site. I think that the property that we're looking on is just about where that pointer is.
Yeah.
So I've not seen any comments relating to this non-material amendment. The committee raised a firm objection to what is the extant permission. To the most recent non-material amendment back in August last year. I am referring to the extant. Let me start again. The committee raised firm objection to PA 25/05026, which is the extant permission, back in August last year. Key point of this objection related to neighbourhood plan policy CC2 development in locations vulnerable to coastal change. We made it clear that the Town Council would not support proposals for redevelopment, enlargement or extension of existing buildings that fall within the defined exclusion zone. Then, in April, this committee raised a strong objection to a subsequent non-material amendment which sought to extend the footprint of the extant permission. Again, you cited NNP policy CC2. That non-material amendment was granted. We did brush over the fact that each application needs to be seen on its own merits, but you did want to be firm that this non-material amendment was still within the exclusion zone, and therefore you would not support it. So we're now looking at a further non-material amendment which seeks changes to the approved profile and material finish of the main roof. So just for clarity, you can see the actual property there highlighted in red from overview. There's not really any street images that are useful to us, to be honest. So we'll have a look at the elevations. We've got the approved and the proposed. I've obviously dug the approved elevations out of the previous because they don't have to provide those as part of a non-material amendment. But hopefully, if you just look at the top line. That's the north elevation. That's looking across the sea towards Porth. And usefully, the plan shows us something of a street scene. So your approved elevation, the watermark is the top left on that street scene. So that's the approved, and that's your proposed. So there's a change, I believe, in the pitch of the roof, and it is being raised slightly. The amendment, it is a small enough change, obviously, for it to be a non-material amendment. And I think if you look at, if I just flick between the two, I think that you can see on, that's your approved, that's your proposed. You can kind of see the changes in the drawings. They are, as I say, small enough to be considered a non-material amendment. And just, you know, just to add a little more understanding to it, that's your proposed, that's your approved roof, and that's the proposal. So I think that just gives you a useful idea of where the works are taking place on the roof. But yeah, they are increasing the ridge height, and just really slightly changing the height and the shape, as in the pitch of the roof.
So they shouldn't be building this in the first place. It's right in the exclusion zone as defined by the, it's not even on the buffer zone, it is defined by the NSERN measurement. They shouldn't be building this. I don't want this council, this committee to approve it in any way, shape or form, and I don't care how minor the amendment is. And that's exactly the position I took on Whipsnade Cliffs, thank goodness we did, because if you start approving minor amendments, you become an improver of whatever they're building. So I would propose objecting on the same basis that this is not a build that should be taking place.
I will tell you briefly, I think, I'm not certain if you have it in front of you, but in April, your objection said, in line with Newquay Neighbourhood Plan Policy CC2, development in locations vulnerable to coastal change, the Town Council will not support proposals for enlargement or extension of existing buildings that fall within the defined exclusion zone. And I think the last application was smaller than this, but that's the point that you took. That's the stance that you took.
Yeah, because I mean, it's just setting precedent then that everyone else can use, isn't it? That for building within that zone. So we can't be seen to be sort of really complicit within that. So you're proposing objection then on, and we can quote that again then, Duncan. Yeah. So seconder? All those in favour of objection? Yeah.
I think it's going to be interesting because tomorrow we're doing the first on the looking at the coastal change management plan. And where the conflict was on this was that the cliff people want to override the policies on the basis they don't think the cliffs are going to fall. So that's why they approved it. We'll not accept it.
Well, we need a more nuanced cliff plan, don't we? Right. Okay. So next one. So we've done those. So terms of reference. So if you can tell us how the terms of reference is at the moment for draft, and then we've got to think about how we add in then for Newquay Town Council applications.
So I've printed out for all of you.
Oh, right, okay.
You should have a copy of the existing, and you should have a copy of the proposed. Is everybody fine with the light? Does anybody want a light on? Are you all good?
I'm all right at the moment,
Yeah,
unless
fine.
you want one on, Duncan.
I can survive without
Okay.
for a little while.
Right, 7632.
I'll just say to start with, the revised version of the committee's terms of reference reflects amendments that have been made by our Chief Executive Officer outlining changes to the scope and specific delegations of this committee. That's where it's come from.
Did we actually accept this and I didn't read it?
No, it's not. No.
This is the first we've seen it.
It's almost hot off the press.
I'm sorry, this is not acceptable, as you can tell by the discussion we've had on the lights. It's not enough for us to say the committee notes the application. Our role is to look at what development is happening in this town. And just because Newquay Town Council is the applicant doesn't mean to say that we stop our role. So, but I do think it would have been useful for all the questions that we'd been asking, is if we could have done that before we came to committee. And we could actually say to people, well, the problem with it is this going to affect the aesthetics of Killicourt? I mean, I've got no idea. So I just think 7632 is not acceptable. When Newquay Town Council is the applicant, the P&L committee will review it, because we don't have an interest, do we?
No.
We'll review it just like any application from any developer.
So, shall we? I think we need to have a meeting about this and hammer this out with CS. So, I don't think we're going to accept this now. I think we need a wider meeting on this. Yeah, and hammer it out.
Frankly, I'm astounded by this.
Yeah, I mean, sort of, Sandy and I had a brief meeting last week after our triage when this was muted. And I suppose from what we saw the logic of the time, but I think, you know, on reflection that it needs a wider discussion on this as to what's going on. I know that lots of other councils, they just do note, but obviously there's underpinning issues that we need to discuss on this before we can do that. So, yeah.
Steve, you were involved in that conversation. Is there anything that you would say?
I would say that it's clearly there is the cleanest governance route is for a town council planning committee to note its own application, and I know you don't agree with that, but it's because of the fact that if it's gone through a democratic governance process already, in terms of it's gone to its parent committee, in this case it might have been the E&F committee, it's then gone to full council that have endorsed that application going in. That application then would be considered by the local planning authority. As a consultee, you are then being asked to comment on your own planning application that has already gone through its own processes. There is a governance risk there in terms of whether you comment on it positively or negatively, you are already going against what has already gone through your own process. So there is a governance issue with that. I mean, if I put a planning application in myself, I then don't get the opportunity to pass comment on my own application. You know, that would be a strange situation, but that is effectively what you, as a planning committee, are attempting to do. And you're not the local planning authority, you're just a consultee in the process. And councils have got into reputational issues where its own planning committee have gone against the decision that the body corporate has already made in terms of submitting its own application. So I think there is clearly some process issues for you to consider in terms of how you don't get yourself in a position where you are potentially having that reputational harm, because that would be an item that would need to go on your risk register. So those are the issues that need to be worked through in terms of trying to deal with the very issues that you've talked about tonight in terms of the previous application at the Killicourt. So I know a number of, I haven't really done extensive views about every council that there is, but Helston Town Council don't comment on their own applications as they're the applicant. Hale note their applications. Bodmin Town Council, which I used to be the clerk at, used to note its own applications because of that very issue. Bude Stratton also don't pass comment. Saltash resolved to note their application. And Penzance, they opted a slightly different route. They declare non-registrable interests in the matter because with the application that's been submitted by their council, there could be a financial impact positively in terms of that application going through. So they actually declare a non-registrable interest. St Ives, interestingly, gave themselves a dispensation to talk about their own planning application, only to speak about it in the positive elements because it's still a listed building. So those are the sort of scenarios. There are very few councils that would
Joe
object
actually
on an
had
application.
his hand up beforehand.
Yeah, that's good background. I think, and it explains the build up to 7.6.3.2. The bit that's missing is that the planning committee won't get a say in it. And I understand what you've just said, all about the whole idea about there's a group governance and decision-making process before it gets to committee. But there is a bit missing there. And I just wonder if there's a way through that, whereas those conversations get to happen before. I mean, the committee, one committee and a different committee have a different set of members, for example. They sit on different committees. I think the point you were making was to make an assumption that there would be agreement every time, because there has to be a binary decision by a council before it gets to a committee.
I'm just highlighting that there is a reputational risk to you.
Yeah.
But I think that what I'm trying to say is that with these sorts of scenarios where there is clearly issues that your good selves would have some very pertinent views on, there might be an opportunity for, before it gets to go into its parent committee,
Yeah.
it needs to come and discuss
Yeah.
the principles of the application
Yeah.
to flush out those issues beforehand,
Yeah.
so that, you know, when the application does
Yeah.
come before this committee, you're not in a position where
Yeah.
you are potentially going, you know, against the council's wishes in terms of getting a planning application to be submitted to local planning
Can Joe
authority.
just come back on that because it was supposed
I completely take that point and agree with all of it. I think the point I'm trying to make at the moment is, as it stands, the proposed solution in this paragraph doesn't tell the story of what can go on in a council. And tonight's discussion on that item, I think, is an example of that. So this is one proposed solution to the issue that we're talking about. I think there's probably needs to be something else in there as well.
So can Joanna? Yeah.
I mean, the one precedent, of course, we've got is Cornwall Council, who had no problem at all in sitting judgment on his own application. But, I mean, we've been through this before. We agreed a process, and the process was that if an application was going to go in from one of the committees, from the council, that they would approach planning and licensing and ask them for any problems that they might see from a planning point of view. Which is, if we'd done this,
Yeah, we wouldn't be in.
that was
Yeah.
the process we agreed. Well, I mean, it was before your time, so it was when, and again, it was critical. And as it happened, we were right. But effectively, the process should be that if you're going to do, you can't cut out planning and licensing because we can improve. We can say applications out, but our expertise is planning. And our expertise is where the lights get shut. Now, it may have been covered in committee, but what we agreed before, and that was the process that we agreed, was that we would if Newquay Town Council was going to put in an application, they would discuss it with the planning committee beforehand, so that the sort of issues that we've raised today can all be ironed out before it happens. And if that then happens and we come to agreement, then by all means note it. But effectively, what's happening is that...
Do you have any, so you thought this was bashed out when the Killicourt units went in?
Absolutely.
Is it possible to look at what was recommended at the meeting back then? Because obviously we to get to this stage, we need something beforehand. So we need something in our terms of reference which reflects that that something comes before committing as a presentation or whatever before we get to the stage that we're in now.
I certainly can't comment on what happened with the Killer Court. I wasn't around when that discussion took place. I mean, I would make some observations, and these aren't meant to upset anybody in any way, shape or form, but Cornwall Council clearly has a statutory function in terms of planning. That is why it has that separation of duty, and it needs to perform that role. Newquay Town Council doesn't have that. You are a staff.
Sorry, we have an expertise in planning issues. That's what we do all the time. And if you're going to put in a planning application, it is courteous to come to the planning and licence saying, this is what we're proposing to do. Do you have any problems with it from a planning point of view? And clearly in this one we did. I mean, there was sufficient, I mean, we spent an awful long time on it. So effectively what I would be looking for is I don't want to be in the position where we're just rubber stamping through town council applications, which is what you're asking us to do. And that is simply not acceptable.
Certainly not about rubber stamping planning applications through. You would not be making a comment positively or negatively.
Yeah,
so that's not.
But it is our opportunity to actually improve planning applications that Newquay Town Council is putting in at the town council level, so that when the application goes to Cornwall Council, it sails through because all the planning issues have been resolved. And that has to be a good process. That has to be a good thing, rather than pushing something through and then somebody objects to Cornwall Council, which is much more expensive.
Well, clearly I don't want to, offend anyone what I'm going to say, but I think there's a difference between having planning experience and having planning expertise. I'm certainly not a planner, so I don't have planning expertise. So, there's a slight difference, I think, with that point. But I take on board some of your points, but I disagree with some of the others.
Okay, before you come in, Sandy. So can I just say that I think we need to have a meeting about this, that we need with a broader group, and I think we need the CEO in there as well, and that we're all together. So I propose that we don't vote on this at the moment, that it needs to come back and be hammered out in a meeting that we need to organise tonight. Do I have a seconder for that? Joanna? Yeah, I think Joanna beat too. All those in favour of that? Yeah.
Is this just so I can know, a separate meeting?
Yes, separate from this meeting, because I think we're going to be we're just not going to settle it tonight.
We're going to need to discuss it with the clerk and the director.
Yeah, and I think it needs. Yes, I think we need a timetabled meeting for that, and we'll worry about that later. I think we don't want to make a meeting date now. I think something needs to come out. Yeah. Thank you. Sorry, Sandy, and I know that preempted you with your hand. Did you want to? That's all right.
I was just going to say that consultation is the answer.
Yeah.
There is consultation.
Yeah. Right. Neighbourhood priority statement. Project planner.
Right, yes. So I included the project planner on your papers, but following the neighbourhood priority statement intro session that some of us recently attended, I think I was there, Joanne was there, you were there, Sarah? Yeah. We have now been asked to register our interest in developing a neighbourhood priority statement for Newquay. I'm keen to kind of move this along.
Asked by whom?
By Michaela Pollard, who appears to be running this show. And not just us, but kind of parishes and towns across the country.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah, if we do register our interest, we will be invited to the monthly events programme as confirmed participants. I spoke to Michaela Pollard last week as we were going to miss the deadline for this. She's been very kind. Will confirm us as participants as long as we get back to her, as long as I get back to her effectively tomorrow. And she has in fact sent me through all the invites for the several forthcoming engagement events. I think that this is I think Cornwall Council are keen to get people on board and to kind of push it forward now. I think I might have a, let's have a look. I think I might, if I was very clever, I would have, yes, here we go. I've actually got a list of the events and dates. So we've been to the introductory one. You've got understanding data, early engagement, analysing responses, and various other sessions that follow on from that, all of which look quite useful in formulating our neighbourhood priority statement. Cornwall Council have given a lot of structure to this, it seems, and we've an opportunity to jump on board now if we're happy to register that expression of interest. Then you're happy for me to go back to Michaela tomorrow and just confirm
We can do that, can we? We don't have to go to...
We can do that, yes.
In which case I propose whatever it is you need to propose.
Second, all those in favour?
I think we'll should be getting pushed forward. It's quite, quite nicely now.
Oh.
More meetings to attend, I'm afraid, but, I'm hoping if I can be involved in this, I absolutely will be and give as much support. Probably this over the CCMA for me, I think, because my time is very limited. But I know that Steve's interested in the CCMA stuff, so...
Working parties. Brief.
Right.
Keep it brief, sure.
Yeah, you can. But I actually had some very sad news about the guy who was in the Sutherland.
Oh.
According to Drew, he has passed away. I haven't seen any newspaper. I don't. And fortunately, I mean, it happened before we have Newquay, the Newquay Safety have worked to close off the Sutherland. They've still got those yellow plastic bags outside.
That too. I thought Biffa would have cleared
Well,
everything
they're
up.
sort of saying it's on private property, so therefore Biffa doesn't consider it fly tipping. I mean, I'm almost entitled to claim to go up and pick them up myself and take them to the dump. Because the problem is, if it's left there, it will, and the boundary looks dreadful. I mean, they haven't whatever they've done. But you might have heard something about the guy who was in there.
Yeah, no, it was in the Voice. It was. I think he fell off the cliff. Yeah, the house on the island. I think he was on that island, and he fell off.
But there is no connection with what Cornwall Council has done on the Sutherland, and it's private property, so it's costing Cornwall Council money. Somebody had to do it. So we got another meeting of the Derelict Building Working Party next week, is it?
The 10th of June.
So we've got a couple of them to do it. The one thing you haven't got on here, I don't think there's anything particularly exciting about parking, other than the fact that the intention to build the retirement home on Tregonwell has now hit the airways, with a predicted negative response from the bid.
What time? On the Wednesday, on the 10th. Yeah, thanks, Dutch.
And did I send it to you? I was given an action point to talk about the boundary, the parish boundary.
Right.
And what came back was, we are looking at a couple of the parishes. Did I send this to you? I can't remember if I did or not. We are looking at a couple of the parish boundaries, and if you want to raise it as something that can be considered, then you can do so. And effectively, we're just looking at all this new build, which is the Newquay Urban Extensions, which is along the A, whatever the road is. And that ought to be in Newquay. It shouldn't be in Colan. So I think Goldings is a lost cause. I think that's a bit too far. But I think we should be putting in, so perhaps we could put that on the agenda for next time. And I will dig out what they've said and send that to you, because I think we just need to actually go into Cornwall Council and say it is time to review the boundary again.
Yeah.
And the other question I asked was Porthend Terrace getting a bit on the large size? And the answer was yes, it is. So I don't quite know what they're going to do about that, but it's already broken way over the limits. So whether we get our divisions, or I'm not pushing for that, because a lot of, although St Columb Minor and Colon is a very small division, it's got all this new development along the A, whatever the road is. So that will bring it up to the same size as everywhere else. So I'm not sure what they're going to do. But I have to say, putting Nansledden in with Titharis and Porth was an absolute bonkers idea.
So do we need to vote on going forward for parish boundary change, Duncan?
Well, I think it's not on the agenda, so
Oh.
I think
No,
I
if
think
everybody's happy, we'll
Yeah.
include it. We'll discuss it at the next meeting.
yeah, and
Yeah. So we don't need to vote to do
No.
that? No, just go on the
I
agenda,
think
right?
it's a
Okay,
good
that's
idea,
fine.
but you may
Yeah.
disagree.
Yeah.
We may not
Start
get
to
any
look for
further
that.
than we did before, but
Okay, brilliant. Financial statement? No skiing? No, right. Sorry, I say it every time, don't I? So a bit predictable. Spending the kids' inheritance, it stands for. Right, other correspondence?
No, we've not
No.
received any other correspondence.
Items for discussion only?
Just
No.
the weekly decision list, that's all.
It's just the
that's
weekly
all we've
decision list.
got.
And I don't think there was anything too outstanding. I noticed that something got refused though, and the Glendorga one got its dispensation for, but no, I don't know. Let's go
there
on.
was an interesting bit of correspondence about what's going to happen
Road.
to Skerryvore. Is that how you put it? I think that is going to be quite an interesting one.
Oh yes, the property's been sold, isn't it? It's got a new owner who wants to build the house back where it was. Was that? So I
Well,
can't
if it's
remember.
in the same position, I think the Cornwall Council people
Yeah.
will accept it. But the last application was to move it. And if you move it anywhere, it goes against one of the cliffs that are falling.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I think it
be.
does go against the neighbourhood plan, which basically says you can't. But it's in such a state now that I don't.
And I should have read the statement out, and when you said it to me at the beginning, and I completely forgot to do it, and I really, really apologise. I'll do it at the next one. When there's more people in the room. It's a statement to read out before every meeting thing, so, yeah. It's just a general thing about remaining civil. Right. Yes, yeah. Yes, you shouldn't go around hitting other. Yeah. Anyway, right. So thank you, everybody. The next meeting is Wednesday, the 10th of June. So hopefully see you there if you're watching. Thanks. Bye.